The story begins in an orphanage in Russia called the Dead Palace. Young children are trained to become agents. They seem to be good children like any other children in the world, but no one can become their fathers, because these children are allocated to special fathers, who have received a special education. One of the fathers takes a child from the Dead Palace to be his father. This is what they say publicly, but, in fact, to be a bodyguard, the children cry over their colleague. The teacher says, "Okay everyone, that's enough. It's time for training. Ellie, when you pretend to cry, there is no need to let your nose run. Parents may hate children who appear stupid or slow to understand." Ellie says yes, I will keep that in mind. One of the officials at the Dead Palace says this kind of education is a gift to them. These children were trained to be weapons from the moment they started walking, and they are fully raised under the supervision of specialized educators. For this reason, I saw that every child is very expensive. Question: what are the uses of these children? The official in charge of the Dead Palace says, these children are like computers. How to use them was determined by the buyers, in other words, their parents. But since they are dangerous, safety measures have been taken. There are certain rules imprinted in their minds from childhood, which they cannot disobey at all. We call them the 3 absolute principles. These 3 principles are designed to ensure Jupiter's control over children. It is very important that you remember them. One of the children says to his father, "Dad, there is a car following us." The father says, "What did you say, boy?" Be silent and memorize this first principle. First, the words of parents are absolute. The car collides with them. The father dies and the child comes out unharmed. The second principle: they cannot use their power without the guardian's permission. The child checks on his father to see if he is still alive. The gang comes out of the car armed. They head toward the car and the child, but the child screams and cries, "Help my father, he is not breathing." The gang members say, "Damn it, no one told us that there would be a child with him. Should we get rid of her too? What's the point? It's the child's domain. Anyway, we should abandon him in a place of water and leave." The last and most important principle is that in the event of a threat to the safety of the parents, they will ignore the previous 2 rules and resolve the situation. One of the injured personnel will turn towards the child and say to him, "Sorry girl, but adults have their own circumstances." But the child stabs him in the neck, takes the weapon, hides behind me, and kills all the gang members who were present during the incident. He says to one of the buyers, "Aren't they good children? What do you think? Are you interested in having your child like this?" He chooses the child, but the official says, "Unfortunately, this is not possible. You can say that this child is our only flaw. His ability was the highest among all our children, and he is a true elite. I personally was very fond of him, but we lost him, or rather he disappeared. We tried to track him down, but without parents, he wouldn't be able to use his powers and therefore wouldn't attract attention. He would probably live a normal life like any other child now. Or maybe he's already dead." Students from a school appear to be beating a classmate. One of them says, "That last blow was really strong, wasn't it, Hyan Ho?" "What did you just say, Hyan Ho?" Hyan Ho says, "You said 15. I felt that this shot deserves to be worth 15 points. He says, "So how many points is this corner worth?" But one of the students interrupts him and says, "Me too." He pushes him and says, "I want to try." "Huang Hyan, how many points do I deserve?" Hyan Ho says, "Fuck you." One of the students says, "Park Seon Ho, Hyan Ho just insulted you." He says, "Park Seon Ho, this kid must be out of order." The senior student says, "Damn Park Seon, this bastard is doing it again. I can beat you easily." He turns to Park Seon and says, "What are you doing now?" and slaps him. He tells him to stop this provocative behavior. "I was already hitting him. You understand what I'm saying, don't you?" Xian says, "That was a really strong blow. I think it's worth 150,000 points. As expected from someone who studied abroad, your physique is completely different." "Joseph, how many weights do you lift? 500 kg, or do you measure weight in pounds to finish?" "The United States?" Joseph says you're an idiot. Go buy some cigarettes later. Siwon says, of course, see you later. I assume you prefer menthol cigarettes, right? He goes to Huang Haiyan Ho. He says to him, wasn't the curse on you too much? It was 52 points, wasn't it? Follow me, get ready now. Your end has come this time. I understand. They then go to a store and he takes a meal. Xian says, you will buy me all the tteokbokki available in this store. I have run out of money after all the missions I did for Joseph. Haiyan Ho says, okay, sure. He says to himself, this bastard really pisses me off. Siwon says, don't tell me that you think it's a waste of money. It's actually okay. That's for Joseph, but not me. That's what you think. Haiyan Ho says it's not like that, but this place specifically. Siwon says this place. This store bears your name. Isn't that wonderful? Haiyan says this is my mother's store. Mother says, are you a friend of Haiyan Ho? Eat whatever you want. Take some fish cakes too. Siwon says your mother is the owner of the store, so that's why the place is named after you. Haiyan says yes, it's my mother's store. He says to himself, I've been able to hide the store so far, but of all the people I know, I can't believe that someone like him would expose me. Siwon says, then I can't act like a stranger. Haiyan Ho says to themselves, what he's planning to do to my mom is, screw it. Messing with my mom is going too far. He attacks him and tries to stab him with a pen. But Siwon says, Auntie, sorry I didn't greet you earlier. I am Park Siwon, Haiyan Ho's friend. This clarifies the matter. The name of the store seemed distinctive. The mother says, really? Haiyan Ho always tells me not to make it clear. Siwon says this is not good, Haiyan. Your mother is working hard for you. Haiyan says to himself, no, I don't know what he will do if we stay here. Mom, we need to go now. Our friends are waiting. Mom says, okay, Sean. How many of your friends are waiting? I prepared some snacks for you to share. Haiyan says, no, Mom. You don't have to do that. Siwon says it's really free. Mom says, of course. No need to sell more today. Park Siwon says, are you sure you want to give all of this to us? Haiyan Ho's mother says, sure. Take it all. Haiyan says, no, Mom. Please don't do this. The mother says Haiyan's friends are like my children. Haiyan says, no, Mom, please. No, they are not like that. It's not what you think. Park Haiyan says, thank you, Aunt. Okay, then we will enjoy the food. Haiyan Ho holds Siwon's hand and says, Siwon, don't hide. Joseph or anyone else. Please do me a favor. Siwon says, sure, I will handle it. I'm leaving now, Annie. The mother says, okay, next time bring your friends too. Sean says, yes, I will bring my friends with me next time. Haiyan gets nervous and says, Mother, seriously, why are you doing this? I told you not to act like you know me. He screams, tears filling his sample. I told you, why did you do that? He says to himself, why am I screaming at my mother, and why is she? His mother says, I was just happy seeing your friend for the first time. I'm sorry, Haiyan Ho says. Haiyan, why are you apologizing? Mom says, I just wanted you to get along with your friends. I'm sorry, so please don't be angry with me. Haiyan says to his mother, please stop waiting for me. If you continue this, I'm on the second day of school. Suddenly a napkin falls into the eating bowl. Joseph appears. They say to him, your mother sells tteokbokki, doesn't she? So I bought some of them. But what is this? Isn't this a rag? Why is it in the tteokbokki? I can't eat it like this. Haiyan Ho, he wipes the rag in his face and says, can I get my money back, please? Or should I go to your mother and say, I am Haiyan Ho's friend? Haiyan says to himself, Park Siwon, I begged you. And Haiyan said to Joseph, you and I are his friend. Joseph said, are you crazy? We are friends. We should get along. You were just a joke. He empties the bowl over Haiyan and says, I can't bear this. I have to tell your mother everything. He gets upset with them. He tries to stab him with a pen, but he remembers his mother. She tells him, I just wanted you to get along with your friends. So I'm sorry, so please don't be angry with me. Joseph gets annoyed with him and says, what the hell? Huang Haiyan Ho, what do you think you're doing, you bastard? He tries to hit him. When Siwon enters the classroom, Hyun Ho says, "What are you doing?" But he finds the classroom with police officers, and the classroom windows have broken glass and are stained with blood. He says, that day, Hyun Ho was beaten continuously for about 15 minutes. He lost consciousness several times and regained consciousness due to pain several times. Every time, he apologized and begged, saying that he was sorry, but the violence did not stop, and no one intervened to stop it. In the end, the person who put an end to the violence was Hyun Ho himself. The story moves to Joseph and his friends, saying, "I have a good idea about Hyun Ho. Say you pushed him while joking. Do you understand that?" One of the students says, "But we did not do anything." Joseph says, "I consulted my mother, and it seems that there is a useful law in Korea. The juvenile protection law. I failed one class, so this law does not apply to me. That's why I'm asking you to help me. Go and turn yourselves in, guys. Tell them you paid Hyun Ho. You'll do it, right?" One of his friends says, "I know about this law too, but I heard that it is still possible to file a lawsuit against us to get compensation." Joseph says, "Don't worry, there is a way to deal with this. Filing a lawsuit. This has not happened yet. As long as there is no one filing a lawsuit, there will be no problem. Isn't it for you guys? Even if you are arrested, you are protected under the juvenile law. True. However, I am not asking you for free help. 10 million won for each of you. You agree?" Joseph says, "Now who knows where Hyun Ho lives?" The story moves to Hyun Ho's mother as she cries over Hyun Ho in his room. Joseph arrives at the building where Hyun Ho lives. He asks which floor Hyun Ho lives on. One of the colleagues answers that he lives on the 5th floor. They try to take the elevator, but it won't go down. One of the students says, "Why doesn't the elevator go down from the 5th floor?" Joseph says, "Forget it. Let's just use the stairs." They go up to the 5th floor and find that there is a broken fire extinguisher. Joseph says, "What is this?" Park Siwon says to them, "Why are you so late? You made me wait." Joseph says, "What are you doing here?" Someone says, "You came at the right time. Come with us too." Siwon says, "I'll ask you 2 things, so keep it short. How did you know about Hyun Ho's snack shop?" Joseph says, "I wondered why you didn't bring cigarettes and were instead eating with the neighborhood kids. Imagine what you saw." Our dear Hyun Ho was arguing with his mother in front of the store. Siwon says, "So here's the second question, and I need you to answer it carefully. What are you doing here?" Joseph says, "Isn't this clear? We are here to see Hyun Ho's father, who is sleeping peacefully after filing a lawsuit. Perfect timing. I've been annoyed with you all this time. Do you think I didn't notice that you were only pretending to bully him, but in reality, you were helping that bastard Hyun Ho? You must have considered me a real idiot all this time." Xian says, "Okay, that's enough for me." He takes the fire extinguisher. Joseph attacks him. Xian says, "Thank you for confirming that. I expected that, but I needed to make sure." And he opens the extinguisher. He beats all the students and heads towards Joseph. But Joseph attacks him with an iron he brought earlier. Sho repels the attack by extinguishing the fire. He hits him in the foot and breaks it. Joseph screams in pain. "Wait. It's broken. I'm telling you, heard a strange sound, you bastard." Sean says, "Your foot bones are broken. You won't be able to walk now." Joseph shouts and says, "Why are you doing this to me?" Sean says the 3 principles are imprinted on children's minds. First, the parent's words are absolute. He hits him in the face and says, secondly, without the guardian's permission, you must not use your strength. The most important of these is the 3rd principle. Joseph says, "Please spare my life. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, so please stop." The 3rd principle. If the safety of the parents is threatened, ignore the previous 2 principles to resolve the situation. His father said, "Hyun Ho, friends, Hyun Ho, are like children. This means that you threaten my mother. This also means that I can crush you. You understand, don't you?" He kicks Joseph. The story moves to the dead palace. One of the teachers calls and says, "Principal, there is a call from Korea." The principal says, "Korea? Who is there calling? The teacher says, it is the White Tiger Force. He says to her, give me the phone. Yes. This is the manager talking. Someone says, I think we found the missing legend of the Dead Palace. The code name, Sean, is currently in Korea. Dead Palace is a multi-use weapon specially trained by the Good Children Project. Code name is Sean.